Welcome. You're listening to The Kevin Illett Show.
Hey everyone, we're here with Dale Williams, the owner of Steel and Steam, local legend. And dude, it's so good to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, man, your story is pretty awesome. And, we like to have people who own businesses. And any conversation I can have with someone where someone can learn something, like that's the goal of this whole thing. And I know you've had a crazy last couple years. And with everything going on with you and your wife have an awesome business here in town.
Yes.
And so how did you get started barbering?
Oh man, I had been cutting hair probably since 1985, and
that's the year you were born, though.
No, I was born in '66. Yeah, but it just started. Just one day, I went to the barber shop, and I showed the guy a picture of the haircut that I wanted, and he didn't do it the way I wanted, so I knew that we had, I guess you could say family clippers under the sink in the bathroom at home. So I just grabbed them and started just trying to fix my haircut with them. That was like my first experience with cutting hair. And then that transcended to, my mother, my brother, my sisters, and friends in the neighborhood, classmates, and it just kept going on. And then I cut hair out of my mom's basement from 85 all the way up to, I take that back, 84, all the way up to, it was time to go to barber school. A friend of mine's mom said, you know what, if you go to barber school, I will pay your tuition. And I didn't think I could make money, cutting hair, because I had been cutting hair for free for, 4 years already. So, and that's how I started. I went to barber school and thought I knew everything, and found out I didn't know anything. So that I had a natural gift, artistic ability, and that's what I was relying on until I got trained by the professionals.
Did you know that you kind of had a knack for it, or were there people in your life like you really need to keep doing that?
I just enjoyed doing it. I had always, drew pictures and painted pictures and try to carve wood and just try to do a lot of things. I've always been an artistic person, and just when I took it up, knew I was making mistakes, but I just wanted to get better and better and better. So that's how it kind of started.
I can imagine that is a great artistic outlet, cutting hair, because there's no two haircuts that are exactly the same.
No. And, I enjoy it. Even down to this day, I still enjoy creating works of art, with people.
When you have tough canvases like the guys sitting in front of you.
You have nice canvas to work with, but I don't even charge for designs, because I know that requires some type of artistic ability. So I try to, I say, hey, you want a couple lightning bolts, or you want your name in your head, or you want a star or something, or anything, and they're like, yeah, do whatever. So I just enjoy it.
So what was the journey like from, you get your license to cut hair and then owning your own shop? Like, did you cut in other shops before? And when did you know that I want to do this? I want to have my own place.
I didn't really know that until I started encountering restrictions. I don't like being restricted. If you work in someone else's business, you respect their business, and you treat their business like it's your own business. And you do the best that you can, and you try to learn as much as you can. But when someone say, well, you can't cut specific people, or you're not allowed to do this or allowed to do that, then that's probably when I realized that, I might have to get my own place one day. But I didn't want that responsibility. I just want to be an artist. I just wanted to create. So I worked in primarily a black barbershop. And there were some white clients that were coming in, and they said, you can't cut them. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? And so what ended up happening was I went to go work in a white barbershop. And the same thing was happening there. Not that the owners were saying you can't cut black people, but they put a cap on the amount of money I could make, because I went from paying chair rental every week to a shop that was cutting me checks. So I got the same type of client revenue coming through, but not the same type of revenue in terms of the money I was making.
Right.
It had dramatically reduced. It was reduced. So I said, this ain't gonna work. So I went across the street and noticed there was a vacant building there, or a vacant space, and this was in the short north at the time. And it wasn't hard to find a place to rent in the short north for $500 a month back in 1990.
Seems silly now, doesn't it? You know?
You could probably get closet space there. But
Yeah, maybe.
In 1991, you know, it wasn't hard to find something for $500 around there, and I did. And then they sued me. The shop that I had left, they sued me, and then I countersued them. And this went on for a period of a year or so, and they finally dropped the lawsuit, and I was like free at last. So, and that's how I got started having my own business.
So what were those first couple years like? Did all your clientele that you built up over the years follow you?
Well, I had only been out of school. I graduated from barber school in '88.
Okay, so it'd been 3 years.
And then I went to go work for someone, and I was just sitting there folding towels. I wasn't making money. And then I went to another shop because the guy said, look, man, you ain't making no money here. I'm about to open up a new shop downtown. You need to come over here and work with me. So I did, and in 1989, I was making $1,500 a week cutting hair, and I was 21.
Heck yeah.
So I loved it. But then when you start saying, hey, you can't cut this person or cut that person or whatever, then the whole dynamics of that change, because I'm a creator. And I like being creative, and I don't like being restricted. I don't want to be just putting just one. I'm not a one-dimensional barber. I don't just cut black people. I don't just cut white people. I don't just cut men or just women. I have to. I'm all over the place. And I used to style women's hair too, but then I started doing the numbers and realizing, wow, I can make more money just doing haircuts instead of, you know, all these perms and colors and all this stuff. So I just focused on just cutting hair from that point forward.
What would you tell yourself now? Like, you just opened up your shop. How old were you again when you did that?
So I graduated from barber school when I was 21. So I was about 23 when I opened up my first shop.
So what would you tell 23-year-old Dale? Like, here's what you need to know that you don't know now.
The 23-year-old Dale. Don't leave the short north. Stay in the short north. And never stop learning. Just keep learning, man. It's a never-ending story. To just continue to learn. I learned from older barbers. I learned from younger barbers. There's so much to learn, and there's always room to improve and to get better. It never stops. I look at pictures of haircuts I've done back in '89 compared to haircuts that I've done recently, and there's just no comparison. And I thought what I did back in '89 and '90 and '95 was all that. But when I compare it to what I'm doing today, there's just no comparison.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy what that consistency over time. Like, there's not many people who have done a craft in a type of art for as long as you have, as consistently as you have. It's pretty cool to see. But what about you, Dale, is built for owning a business?
It's a desire me personally, I really don't have a problem working for people, but then all of a sudden things just, we're men, you know, and there's a, I don't want to be all holy on you, but there's a scripture in the Bible that says a man is supposed to love his wife like he loves his own body. But then the scripture goes on to say, and a wife, you would think that it would say she's supposed to love her husband like she loves her own body, but it doesn't say that. It says that she's supposed to respect her husband. And so as men, we long for respect. And if we're in an environment where we're being disrespected, it's not going to last long. And when it comes to business, it's all about being respect. You know, you get more, what is it? You get more bees with honey or whatever. why not respect people and treat people the way that you want to be treated?
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't happen, or you're being restricted from doing this, or things that are keeping you from elevating your creativity, you might want to just be your own boss. But I've tried working for people before, and it all comes down to how they're treating me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, this person's treating me like a stepchild, or and let me rephrase that: treating me like they don't respect me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is not going to last. I can't continue this.
How did you know that the disrespect was getting to a certain point to where you needed to make a change?
Every action deserves a reaction. It's natural for us to, when we get disrespected, to in turn disrespect. You know, I've heard people say, you know, when they go low, you go high, and it's so hard for me to do that because I just go lower, and it just ends up being a bad situation. So I just said, no, I need to be in my own environment, and I promise that I will not treat people the way that I've been treated. And I try to do that, you know, within our business. Just treat people, instead of treating someone like they work in my business, I'm treating them like an equal. I'm treating them like how I would want to be treated if I was working in someone's business, and with respect. And if we have a problem or a disagreement or something, then we go step aside and we work that problem out so that we can continue to move forward and advance. Mm-hmm. And I don't see that happening a lot. And bullies, and you think bullying stops, you know, in high school or elementary, but it goes into when we're adults. I literally know of adults that get bullied on their job, and I just don't see how they can take that. I really don't. But I guess we're cut from a different cloth.
Yeah.
You know,
it's amazing. I think about it all the time that now I have the opportunity, like you said, to create the culture of a workplace environment. And a lot of it is just a reaction from things that I didn't like about previous places. Like there's things that I love and that I want to create, but I think for if I could tell my younger self something, it's like pay attention and really remember how you felt when, like you said, someone disrespected you, or you didn't feel like you could give an opinion, or someone misinterpreted your motives about, wanting to grow your business and they took it as threatening, or however it is. And so it is funny you say that, because that's been my experience too. It's like, what a great opportunity you have to just help people grow and flourish and to not experience the negative things that you did.
Yes, and the barbers that, I'm not going to say work for us, that work with us,
Mm-hmm.
I encourage them, at some point, if you have a desire to get your own business, anything you want to know, I'll tell you. I'll share it with you. I hate that phrase, game is to be sold, not told, and all that. No, we're here to teach other, to help each other, so that we can better the industry that we're involved in, so that everyone can prosper and grow and be successful, and hopefully share that with others.
Mm-hmm.
And also often you see people not wanting to help others. It's like they get a kick out of seeing other people suffer, which I don't get.
Exactly
So
right.
you can't take this information with you, so why not share it with others?
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage the barbers too, one day when you get your own place, you'll see, that there's certain things that need to be, nipped in the bud in order for that shop or that business to be successful and to flourish.
Mm-hmm. So you've been doing it for 30 years now.
Pushing 40.
Pushing 40
I'm
years.
a couple years from 40, yeah.
That's crazy. But what rewards are you seeing from that intention that you've had running your business now, 40 years later?
Oh, hold on. Let me. You said something. I've been doing this. You're talking about owning a business.
Yeah.
Okay, 30 years. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I did have, at one time, I had 4 barbershops I was trying to run at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone said, if You open up, because I had one shop and I opened up another one, and they were both doing really, really well. And then someone said, it's really not a chain until you get that third. And so I did it. And then I got a fourth one. And it just seemed like, people were like, wow, this guy, he has 4 barbershops. He must be doing big things. But that's not how I looked at it. I looked at it like, 4 electric bills, 4 cable bills, 4 water bills, 4 landlords, 4, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was the cleaner. I was cleaning all these shops, and I'm like, why can't I afford a cleaning company? What am I doing wrong? And goes back to that scripture again where Jesus was talking about keep your eyes simple,
mm-hmm.
And that wasn't simple.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing simple about having 4 businesses, especially when you can't be at all 4 of these places at the same time. But to your question of just running a business, I think that you have to keep it simple. You have to keep it real simple, and you don't want things to be out of order and chaotic, and it has to, in order for a business to run, efficiently and to turn a profit, you have to really make sure things are simple, because you might be able to get it, but the next person might not, and so on. So, when we're talking about haircuts, there's a lot of repetition, and so where there's repetition, there has to be duplication of that. And so if it's simple for everybody to follow, yeah.
It's interesting because I would say that people think it's the opposite. Like it just gets more chaotic in the pool. At least that I feel is like if you endure more chaos, then you'll turn more profit. But you're right, man. It is the opposite of that. Is that you can lose a lot of money in the how often you're cleaning your shops, and you did the third one and the fourth one because maybe someone told you it might be a great idea and you wanted to be a chain, and it costs.
It costs, and then you have to. There has to be a proven blueprint for you to follow. Someone that's been successful that maybe have 20, 30 shops or whatever. If you have their blueprint on how to do it, because it's one thing to have a chain of salons and it's all commission as opposed to a chain of barbershops that are all share rental.
Right.
Salon lofts, they have a concept which has been proven has been working good for them, where they're collecting rent. And that would be a blueprint for someone to follow to have success, because they've been extremely successful with it. Or you take someone like Charles Penzone, who's had multiple shops and been in the business for a long time. They have a blueprint to follow, but to wing it and endure all those mistakes and all that, it could easily go from grand opening to grand closing if you don't have a blueprint to follow. And putting out a superior product is always the bottom line. It's kind of hard to put out a superior product if there's no simplicity involved, where you can actually create and focus on that. Yeah. Fortunately now, we have people to clean the business for us. We don't have to do that. We can free up our time to do other things, spend more time with family, the important stuff. But being a business owner is not easy. No matter how simple you want to make it, it's not easy. But it is, things being consistent makes it easier, and having business morals make it easier and make it simplistic, and having a blueprint to stick to, of course.
Yeah. What is maybe like one thing that you've learned that changed the way that you ran your business?
The one thing that I've learned is time is way more valuable than money. That's all I can say about that is you have to, time is just important. There was a time when we had a shop in Pickerington, and we were there for 14 years, and we didn't do any appointments. We just did walk-ins. We'd get to that shop at 7 o'clock in the morning and wouldn't leave until 9, 10 at night, because it was just walk-ins. And then at that time, our haircuts were $15, $20. So there were always 15, 20 people constantly waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, I'm killing myself. This is killing me. I think one of the key components is just being able to have structure in a shop. And people think that, now that barbers are going on these appointments that we've gotten all uppity and fancy. And no, it's not that. We've gotten smarter. We've gotten wise when it comes to our time and respecting other people's time. You got all walks of life coming in there getting their hair cut. And a lot of people don't have time to be sitting in the shop, 8 hours just because you're good at cutting hair.
Yep.
So I think that one thing I can definitely look back on is just saying I'm glad I flew out to California in 2018 and my life changed when I came back here to Columbus. Because prior to 2018, it was really, really hard. I was working 6 days a week and cutting 20, 30 people a day and still wasn't reaching the type of income that I needed to reach in order to just have a normal lifestyle with my family.
Yeah.
But I was never home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing all kind of stuff, the events that my kids are involved in. They're in sports. They're just doing this and doing that. And it was just hard for me to be there because I was always in the shop.
And the only way to make more is to cut more.
Yeah.
At the time, right?
Yeah. But you can work smart instead of working hard.
That's what happened in California.
Oh, man. I met with some millionaire barbers. I didn't think that barbers can make millions of dollars. I was like, there's no way. I mean, how many haircuts are you cutting? And one of the barbers there was a gentleman that they referred to as the rich barber. And he had this method. And 10 things that can help you become a millionaire barber. And I remember lesson number 1 was you have to go by appointments. I said, how can I go by appointments and make money if there's only so many hours in a day and so many hours in I cut? I mean, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you restricted me. One customer, it might take me an hour to cut their hair. Another customer, it might take me 10 minutes. How can come on. But
the math doesn't math.
But, man, here we go back to this blueprint. This guy had a blueprint. I researched and I'm like, man, this dude is making money. Mm-hmm. Lots of money. But his money just wasn't just coming from haircuts. It was coming from, owning a business, owning businesses. He went online. He sold products online. He had a YouTube channel. I mean, it was a collection of different multiple income streams coming in where I was like, then the light bulb clicked on like, man, that's how he's doing it. He's not one-dimensional. I was just one-dimensional. This guy's like 10-dimensional.
Wow.
So that's when everything changed. I said, when I get back to Columbus, I'm changing everything. And it was hard at first. And I lost clients, but I gained clients too. So
what changed for you?
How I looked at the business. I was looking at it from a perspective of, I would say a 19th century perspective of how I grew up and how barbers were, how they've always done things. When I was in barber school, I would go and sit in different barber shops on my days off from the barber school and just watch them cut all day, every day and learn, ask them questions. I never regret, when I look back on it, I think that was one of the best things I ever did was just going there and just hanging out and, you mind if I come in here and sweep up the floor so I can see how sure. You in barber school? And these barbershop owners, they were very helpful. They were willing to tell me anything and everything, showed me everything. And so that was something I had relied on for decades until I went out to California. That old school way of just putting out a superior product, but the whole not having control of your time was just not a good thing because I didn't have control of my time. I thought I did, but I didn't.
And so when did you start? Because you have like a crazy social media following. If there's anything people would say about you now, is that you're definitely not one-dimensional. You got a lot going on. And so was social media one of the things you started when you came back in 2018?
The social media thing to me was just I made my first post on Instagram, I believe in 2017. So I didn't take it serious. And that's the thing. I get kind of frustrated with social media, specifically Instagram, because those barbers that got the jump start on Instagram before I did, before a whole bunch of other barbers did, they seem to be the ones that everybody think that are the most successful or have been in business the longest, but they haven't. You know, they just got to Instagram before we did, before a lot of barbers did, and was able to get in a lot of traction, and they got a hell of a head start. That's all I can say. And they still reaping the benefits from that. Because a lot of times in business, it's not about who's best. It's about who's first.
Yep.
And that can be frustrating when you know that you're the best. But with Instagram, it's just became a tool. That's all it is a tool.
Mm-hmm. That's how I found out about you.
Was through Instagram?
Yeah, it was through Instagram.
Yeah.
I was looking for someone local, and whether it was somebody who shared your stuff, and it's interesting how much, like, if you have some sort of following, how you instantly gain some sort of respect.
Yeah. I got my followers basically because of the people that I was following. And thankfully, they would follow me back. And when that happened, one of the guys I admire a lot, he's from the West. Two guys. One is a guy by the name of Fern the Barber. This guy is just a magician when it comes to barbering and cutting hair. All types of hair. He doesn't care. He's just one of the coldest barbers I've ever seen. So I started following him and liking his post and learning from his posts. And then ran into him in California.
Oh, wow.
And I'm filming him on stage, and he comes and looks at what I filmed at him. He's like, can I get a copy of this? I'm like, absolutely. And then we connected, and he started following me, and then all of a sudden, them followers started coming in, man.
Wow.
They just started coming.
Isn't it crazy how, like, the dam breaks?
Yeah.
You know?
And then with him, then it went from him to Popular Nobody. I started following him. His name is John Mosley, but he goes by, his Instagram name is another excellent barber out of California. And by the way, excellent barbers are all over the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're in UK, they're in Chicago, they're, all over. But I connected with these barbers, and their followings are huge. So, and then Mataki, phenomenal scissor company. I was just online trying to find some scissors, ran it in. I'm like, man, they make some fire scissors. Got a pair, started posting their scissors, and more followers. Then became an ambassador for Andis. And they started following me. And when they started following me, that's when I got a lot more followers. But then this is what happened. They would take my my post and then repost them on their site.
It just started going.
That's just how it started going. And it really, I feel like I'm somewhat stagnant because I've been in that 35, 36 area for a while. So I might have slacked off a little bit as far as my posts, but I became a little disillusioned with Instagram because Instagram to me just seems like a dopamine hit. You know, you'll post a video and all of a sudden you'll get, wow, a lot of likes, a lot of views, a lot of posts. A lot of views, engagement, and all that stuff. But then a month from now, nobody knows, nobody cares.
Yep.
You know, so you're in this situation where you got to keep posting and posting and posting and posting to stay relevant. And who has time for that?
No.
Now I know somebody personally that haven't posted on YouTube in 3 years, and he just recently got 100,000 subscriber plaque from YouTube. Do you see the difference between YouTube and Instagram? That's why, and I'm so much more focused on YouTube because of the longevity aspect of it than I am with Instagram, and they're just a little quick little dopamine hit, and they just got to keep putting it out.
It's different arts too. Like YouTube, the longer form content, and even they got the shorts now. But I feel like that's just kind of a vehicle to get people to look at your longer stuff too.
That's all it is.
And YouTube is something I haven't figured out quite yet, and I really haven't. I know people who make a lot of money just by posting their videos and just the AdSense on their videos, which is incredible. I know you got a whole thing going on. We were talking last time I was in about the nostalgia channel you have.
Yes.
Which is pretty freaking awesome.
The nostalgia channel is it's growing, and it just all of a sudden just started. Because last week, I was getting averaging 50 views a day. It just jumped from 50 views a day to 500 views a day. And I was sitting on the couch this morning with my son. I'm like, look, I got 1,160 subscribers. And while we were talking, it went from 1,161. Then I go upstairs, shower, get out of the shower, and then it's at 1,164. It's just constantly it's going on its own. So if anybody wanted advice for as far as YouTube's concerned, because I know people are saying, well, TikTok pay more money and all that. Nobody on TikTok make more money than Mr. Beast.
Yep.
They don't make more money than PewDiePie. They don't make more. Nobody on Instagram is making more money than any of those creators on YouTube. The longevity that YouTube offers, you can't compare it.
Mm-hmm.
So now with Mr. Beast, the sad thing about him is I noticed that he's starting to he has to spend $1 million to make $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that ain't the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you run out of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like what I've got in place because it's just endless. It's never ending. I'm sitting on mounds of videos to post. It's just a matter of just being able to post them.
Right. So basically you take what we call nostalgic videos from 20, 30 years ago, and you take little clips of them. And
I'll take the whole video.
Take the whole video and just repost it.
Right. The thing is that the video that I'm posting, I'm telling the subscribers that you're not going to see this video anywhere else on YouTube unless someone, copies it from this nostalgia account and then put it on there. But I like videos that, people like, people want to see. So nostalgia gives us a good, funny feeling, especially from with your generation. You guys like seeing nostalgia from 01, 02, 03.
Yeah.
From that time period. So we just focus on that.
Now, you've kind of been through an interesting couple of years with your health.
Mm-hmm.
And you had some, a cancer scare. So why don't you?
Yeah, I caught a bad case of cancer. Just minding my own business and caught it. I don't know who gave it to me. I know who gave it to me. But, yeah, that when you get something like that, you forget about YouTube, you forget about Instagram, you forget about cuts, you forget about, you only think about things that are most important to you, like your family and your time and those type of things. We have to be really focused about what we put into our body. I really can't stress that enough because what we eat you are what you eat. Mm-hmm. Do I like ribs? Yes. Do I love bacon? Yes. Do I love bread, cereal, all the stuff that tastes good? Yes. But should I eat it? Mm-hmm. I mean, it feels good to my mouth, but will it feel good to my stomach, or to my body? Am I going to benefit from what I'm taking in? Kind of like what we're reading. Am I reading garbage or what I'm listening to? Am I listening to garbage or I'm listening to, somebody was said, what you listening to? They think I'm listening to music, but I was listening to The Richest Man in Babylon. You ever read that book?
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful book.
Yeah.
But, when you're reading it, you're listening to it in the audio, it hits different when you're listening in the audio. You may get a client that I have clients, they want to talk. Then I have clients, they don't want to talk. And it's hard for me not to talk to clients. So I might just listen to a little clip from The Richest Man in Babylon or The Millionaire Next Door. There's all kinds of books out there to listen to that will help me, But the cancer thing it just took me by surprise. I had went into all during, like I told you before, all during 2022, I had this pain in the side. Didn't know what it was. I would go to my doctor. She didn't know what it was. And then finally in December, I just checked into the hospital, went to emergency room, and they rushed me into emergency. to surgery. They pulled it out. They were like, we don't know what that was. And so the doctor said, all I could tell you was, imagine you have everything in you is all white and there's areas that are black. She said, everything that was black, I pulled out. And she said, I'm almost certain I got everything. I said, good. They sewed me up. I was in the hospital for 14 days recuperating.
You didn't have a diagnosis yet.
Didn't have a diagnosis.
Yeah.
My first day back in the shop was on a Saturday, and I get a call from the doctor. If a doctor calls you on Saturday, you think they got some good news for you.
No.
She called me up. She said, Mr. Williams, I'm so sorry, but your pathology results show cancer, and we want to start getting you. She said, I personally feel like I took all the cancer out. She said, but other doctors here may feel that there might have been some floaters that might have attached to your lungs or to your kidneys or whatever. The only way we can be sure that we can get all of it is we have to put you on chemo. Mm-hmm. So fortunately, they didn't put me on chemo. They gave me something called immunotherapy. And if you see the commercials on TV, it'll say Keytruda. Mm-hmm. That's what they put me on. And I guess that finished it off.
Mm. How long was that process?
That was about a year. That was all of 2023.
Was it pretty taxing physically?
Yes, it was.
Because your job's pretty physical in the nature of you have to have some endurance, right?
I still had to go to work, but I wasn't working as much as I could. That's how I went from working 6 days a week to 4 days a week. So I had to, the doctor was like, you need to hit the gym and you need to watch what you eat. And he said, I recommend eating as many leafy green vegetables as you can. Stay away from red meat, and just start eating super healthy. And I started eating super healthy, started hitting the gym up. I would walk, run 2 miles 5 days a week, and I would do some weights. Now I'm doing mostly weights than I am walking and running. But he said, you need to do that. So everything there was like a huge paradigm shift. I just my focus went from all these other things to my health and my family, really getting into that. So it hurt because I wasn't able to do as much with social media as I wanted to. So people think that, well, he fell off. Because the majority of people out here didn't know I got cancer. I don't even think any of my sponsors knew I had cancer. I just don't think a lot of people knew. Like my immediate family know and some clients, but the majority of people didn't know. So
I was surprised when you told me because, nothing had changed about your countenance and the conversations we were having. I think it just kind of came up one day.
Well, I went from weighing 220 pounds to weighing 180.
Wow.
And so that's how a lot of people were like, man, you don't look right. Something ain't looking right. You
look a little different.
Yeah, you looking like a shell of yourself. And even at then, I still didn't tell people about it. But yeah, that whole year, 23, was just me just working on myself, hitting the gym up, trying to eat as clean as possible, and relying on. I work with some heavy hitters too. The barbers, the stylists that I work with, they are heavy hitters, man. They're good, not only at cutting hair and doing hair, but they're just good at keeping a business afloat when I'm not there. And just they held everything down, held it down. I love them all, and can't thank them enough. So,
what did you learn about yourself through that?
That it's better to be a business owner than it is to be someone who's self-employed. Because when you're self-employed, the only time you make money is when you're there. When you're a business owner, you're put in situations where you have to rely on a lot of other people. And so you need to make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, and that you have a system in place that is duplicatable, that everybody can function off of and advance off of. And that's what I think we have. That's why our email says success is still in steam, because we have a system in place. And if you forget, I'm not saying forget everything that you know about this industry, about this business. But if you just put what you already know on the back burner, like what I did when I flew out to California, because these guys that were teaching me, they were half my age, but they were making 3 times as much money I was making. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to learn new things, then you will be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I have a young barber, and this barber, man, she is so fire. Her name is Slim, and she goes by Slim Blades on Instagram. She showed me something, a technique, when it comes to fading that I never knew. And ever since I used that technique that she showed me, oh man, not only has my love for cutting hair have increased, but it's also helped me be better as a better barber in cutting hair. So thank you, Slim. You know, if you're listening, thank you so much. So
what do you look for in team members? Because I'd imagine it's interesting to build a shop where you have all different personalities that come in all different levels of experience. And what character traits do you look in team members that makes you feel comfortable bringing them into the fold?
People that really are serious about their craft and are very professional. People that are loyal, dedicated, committed, and know how to treat people. You know, if somebody walk in the door, I know a lot of times someone will walk in the door and we're in there busy, we're engaged with the clients that are in our chair. We might slip up and not say, hey, hello, how you doing? Welcome. But we try to be on that. But team members, like the team we got right now, it's like the Justice League. Like we got Superman, we got Batman, we got Wonder Woman, we got Robin, we got the Green Lantern, we got the Flag, we got them all, you know. I think that everyone respects one another and learn from each other, are considerate of one another. But playing team, I think we all just know our roles, what we're better at, and we just excuse me. We just
Yeah, you're fine.
Man, sorry about that.
I got you talking.
Got me talking. But yeah.
What did you learn about your team when you were going through your stuff?
The people, I'm going to put it out there. There's people that I've been courting for years to come and work in the shop with me. I don't know why they won't come and work with me, but I already know what I want to be surrounded by, but they don't know that. So it's hard for me to convey to them, look, if you come here and you work here with me, your income's going to double. You know, it's so hard to convey that to people because when they see me on Instagram, what I am on Instagram or YouTube or whatever is not the same as it in person. It's a video. Mm-hmm. You know, I've rolled up on so many people that I see on Instagram, and then when I see them in person, it's like night and day.
Yep.
There's a singer, I'm not going to say his name, but if you really like a particular artist or entertainer or whatever, and don't meet them in person.
It ruins it.
It ruins, man. I'm telling you, don't. Just love them from afar, because if you meet them, it ain't gonna be like what you thought.
Not pretty.
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, you might see somebody you really don't care for them, but you meet them in person, which is what I think is going on with a lot of these barbers. Am I approachable? Yes. So I think that everybody on our team is extremely approachable. Chris is approachable. Keith is approachable. Sergio's approachable. Kristen's approachable. Slim's approachable. Aubrey's approachable. And we go to other businesses. We go to different businesses and we say, look, I want my business to run like this. Mm-hmm. Or, man, I don't want our business to be ran like this. Or, man, this place look clean in the pictures, but when I see it in person, man, it's dirty in here. It's disgusting.
They're nothing worse than a dirty barbershop.
Yeah, so I got little pet peeves that bother me. Like when you walk into a barbershop, people should not have to see hair on the floor. Mm-hmm. You know, so we try to, I don't know, we don't try, we do. We sweep up after every haircut. I don't like seeing brooms in the corner. That's like seeing a spot on a white T-shirt. You know, people don't want to see a broom over there with a dirty dustpan and all that. Keep that stuff out of. I don't like music playing with cuss words in it. I don't like TVs in a barbershop. I think it's unprofessional. This is not Roosters. You know, I don't, because I think that the focus should not be on the television. It should be on the client, you know. But everybody has their own little devices or laptops or tablets that we can watch TVs on from our station, which is what sometimes we do. But the focus is always on the client, always. And I think that's where the cohesiveness comes from with each one of us, how we work well together, because we're not just only concerned about our own individual client, but everybody's client. Because sometimes I'll see my client in someone else's chair. And I don't want my client to feel guilty or to feel bad about that, because at the end of the day, it's all about that client. We want them to be happy. If I wasn't able to get you in at a particular time, then guess what? There's someone here that can put out the same quality of work that you can go to, because it's about you. It's about that client. And I hate when barbers get butthurt over one of their clients being in someone else's chair. I mean, they was in somebody's chair before they even started, before you even became a barber, before you even got the inkling in your head to go become a barber. No one is your client until they're sitting in your chair. And I don't care if you've been cutting their hair for 50 years. It's the way it goes. Gosh. The only thing that matters is somebody sitting in your chair. That's all that matters.
It's a good way to get people to never come back too, is if they feel like, if they feel like you're offended that they had to run over here to get a cut or something like that. You know what I mean?
You need to ask yourself, is it me? Did I do something wrong? The client doesn't need to know that. They don't need to see you being unprofessional. But that's something that you say for your wife. Like, sweetie, at work today, one of my clients that I've been cutting for the last 30 years ended up in somebody else's chair. What do you think that means? Share that with her, or share it with yourself or whatever, but don't share it with the other barber, and don't share it with with the client,
Right.
The only thing that matters, as long as they keep coming back to this salon / barbershop, that's all that matters. Whether they're in your chair or another barber's chair, that's when we all have to work together with each other and respect that. Because the barber will probably come to you and be like, man, that person's been trying to get in with you, for the last week or so, and they can't get in.
Right. You don't know the whole story, right?
You don't know the story. So,
what's it like working with your wife?
I love it. That's a joy. I don't understand how couples can't work together.
I can't work with my wife.
Oh, you can't?
We talk about it all the time.
Really? But here's the thing, though. I really don't see her when I'm at work because she stays in her space, and a lot of times I don't see her unless she's running to a restroom or going to lunch or leaving, because she stays locked up in her room just with her clients doing her thing all day, every day. So that might be the reason why we're not next to each other all day, every day. So, but it's a joy.
That's awesome. Are you guys similar or different?
We are so similar with so many things and different with so many things. I'm going to say this. We're similar with the things that matter the most, and we're different with things that are not, that are not a big deal. Like, she likes butter pecan ice cream. I say that's nasty. I like cherry cordial spinach. Ice cream.
No, I'm kidding. I said you like spinach.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
She's a vegetarian.
Yeah.
I'm not. I need to be a vegetarian, but so we're different on little minor things, but I think things that are really important, you're with the person that you're supposed to be with when she's thinking the same thing you're thinking. So on those type of things, yes, we're dynamic with. We're a dynamic duo. She came up with the name of our business, Still and Steam. She came up with that name. So
you guys have an awesome shop, which I know your wife had to design, right?
She did. She designed it all, man.
I love your shop.
Yeah, I don't know how. She wrote it on a piece of paper. She's an artist herself. She drew it on a piece of paper, and this is how it need to be. And she's the reason why we don't have TVs in the shop. There's a publication called, what's the name of the shop? Salon Today. And they had a list of the top shops in the world in there. And all them top shops had one thing in common. There was no TV in them shops.
Wow.
And that right there, I was like, man, next level here. Next level. So, and because people come in like, why is there TV in here? But then I think that a lot of them realize this is a culture thing, man. It's all about you. You're the TV. You're the canvas. And we're going to create a masterpiece with you and send you on your way. So,
what's it like being an artist married to another artist?
It's cool. It's cool. We bump heads on some things when it comes like things around our house, like, because we just really pretty much just revamped our whole house and new windows, gutters, shutters, interior, all kind of stuff we did. There's still some things we need to do. And when you have a house, it's never ending.
Always the next thing.
Yeah, it's always the next thing. She can go into a room, and when she did it a year or so ago, 2 years ago, it was nice. But no, not anymore. New chain, new paint, new floor, new outlets, and I've learned to accept it because I thought it was nice the way it was. So, but.
Have you always been good at conversations?
I never really consider myself to be a conversationist or a good communicator type person, but I've never thought of myself as a good conversationist. But I try to listen more than I talk. I try to ask the clients, I try to get them to talk. So that way, while they're talking or venting, I'm working. So I try not to talk that much.
I remember the first time I came in to your shop, I think shops had just opened back up after COVID. I think everyone was still doing the mask thing, which is a whole separate conversation.
The mask was a nightmare.
It affected your business a lot, right? Or at least you didn't know what was going to happen.
It did. It's hard to cut somebody to have a mask on.
Yeah.
There was a period of time which might have lasted for 60 days where we didn't do any beard trims, and clients didn't want to get them either, so.
But I remember coming into your shop and we just had the best conversation. Yeah. And I think I don't know if this is a part of the new framework you were following, but I think I was in the chair for an hour and a half. We were just talking about everything.
If you were in a chair for an hour and a half, then I'm more than likely to have a client after you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember, but it was not saying, I'm not trying to say your haircuts last that long, but I'm saying our conversation was so good we could have sat there for 3 hours and talked.
We could have, man.
But you're very easygoing, and what was interesting for me, it's like you probably get a lot of different viewpoints. You probably get a lot of different levels of passion in this chair. You probably get people in this chair who don't want to say a word to you,
right?
And to have that kind of adaptability towards your client and how to serve them best, I don't know, man. That's a crazy skill that I'm sure you have, even if it's in the background, honed over this entire time that you've been barbering.
Do you remember why I keep going back to the Bible, man?
Dude, I love it.
Okay.
I was a pastor for a long time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was ex-church.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That must be why.
Okay.
Dude, I got to tell you a story real quick. I would keep the thought about the Bible.
Okay.
But last night, I was, for some reason, the guitars have been out in our house. So I don't really play the guitar that well, but I know enough to be dangerous. And I'm like, man, you know what? My kids don't even know, they're like 8 and 6 years old. They don't even know the basics, the old school kids, VBS songs we used to sing of, This Little Light of Mine and all this. And so I started playing, and I was trying to get my kids to sing. And they finally started, okay, Dad, fine, we'll sing. And we're singing This Little Light of Mine, and we're singing, what's another one that we sang? Jesus Loves Me. And then there's a little hymn, it's, I have decided to follow Jesus. And I have decided to follow Jesus. And my oldest boy, who is, he's shy, man. And we have a little microphone that my daughter got for her birthday. So he pulls the microphone over and he's singing it. It makes one cry. But I start playing. He goes, all the verses, and I've decided to follow Jesus. And he goes, though none go with me, I still will follow. And we sang that thing over and over again. And I don't know, in the busyness of all the entrepreneurship and starting businesses and doing whatever we're doing, all trying to start podcasts and social media and whatever, it's like I don't have my phone out. I wasn't filming it. I wasn't trying to show it to anybody. But it's just like God's gift to me in that moment, was to see my son. Who knows, just experience what it's like to be in the Spirit of God, for a second, for 10 seconds, for 20 seconds. And I don't know. I've been thinking about it all day because it happened just last night. So
now, how many kids do you have?
3.
Wow.
3, 8, 6, and 3.
Well, you're good for 3 more.
Bro, I'm done. I can't be like you, man. I gotta.
You're good.
I'm not as easygoing as you. It stresses me out.
Man, to me, a baby just in the house with a diaper on, make the house a home.
Mm-hmm.
Make that just make the house a house.
Mm-hmm.
But
I want to hear what scripture were you about to share?
I was getting ready. I can't remember the verse, but it was talking about Apostle Paul, how he had to become one for all, because everybody's different. And I just always admired that about the Apostle Paul, how he was able to relate with so many different congregations.
Yeah, becoming everything to everyone.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And doing anything to reach people short of sin, right? Like, I will do what it takes.
Yes. Yeah.
It's an interesting concept.
Yeah. And I just think that, to me, pretty much all the things that we learn in the Bible can certainly be applied to just our everyday life and even in business. So, I mean, there's some people that you'd be like, man, I can't go into business with this person. I don't want to be around this person because they're so immorally toxic, or there's just so many different things.
When I was in your chair, so this was like right around election time. The George Floyd stuff had started happening. We're at the end of COVID. Trump's doing Trump thing. And at the church, we were managing like everyone virtually. I don't think we were back like meeting in person yet. And we were doing our best to just like try to keep people together, because in the church world, there were sects of people that and everybody probably felt this, but you couldn't win. It's like you either didn't say enough about, Black Lives Matter, or you said too much, or you aren't taking the stand against Trump when he holds the Bible up, or you said too much, and we were trying to fight this notion that we couldn't just be for all people. We couldn't just bring people together. And so when I was in your chair the first time, I was in the middle of that. Like, we were just like, okay, how can we start conversations with people? How can we chill people out? How can we stop making it about this group of people, this party versus that party? And I remember sitting in your chair, and you start talking to me, you go, what do you think about Trump? And you said, what do you think about us George Floyd stuff? And I'm like, dude, why are you asking? And we had the best conversation for a long time.
Yeah, the whole, for years, it's always been customary to never, ever talk about religion or politics in the barbershop. But it just seemed like lately, man, everybody's just letting loose, man. It's like you could tell we're just in a whole different world these days where, I guess you never talked about religion or politics in the barbershop because you were, it's one of the things that can cause people to be divided. It's one of those things that can cause you to lose clients or gain clients, or it's one of those things that can be you easily to offend people, because we all have different views and perspectives on how we look at life and as it relates to politics and religion. But I try to just ask a question, and then hopefully whatever I ask, it can make the client feel comfortable, man. And if there's a place you want to vent, it's definitely a barber chair is a perfect place to vent, man. It's just because we want you to be relaxed, and it might be something that's bothering you forever, and you want to get it off your chest. You can get it off your chest in a barbershop. And we want people to feel at home. We want people to feel relaxed, and we want people to be themselves, no matter what walk of life they come from or what color they are. We have an extremely diverse barbershop. You can look at any time, and one day, last week, there was some Asian guys there, some black guys there, white guys there, maybe an Indian guy, but we're all there. and I think we see the bigger picture that we're all glad to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a blessing in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes back again to respecting each other. If someone is Republican or a Democrat or a Muslim or a Jehovah's Witness or whatever they are, we have to respect people for that, even if you're not in a barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
And the love must take precedence over everything. Sometimes I wish that when you're in a crowded room and you're from so many different walks of life, I wish I had the power to snap my finger and we all turn in like 1-year-olds. How are we interacting with each other then? You know, are we giving each other hugs? Are we playing with each other? You know, those things. But right now, in the world that we live in, and I hate to keep going back to the Bible, man. Again,
Why?
Because
I love it.
Because that one scripture says that we live in critical times, hard to deal with. Some people will refer to this time period that we live in as the last days. And it's easy to get caught up in that if you just cut on the news and you see all the things that are happening locally, nationally, and internationally. You're saying, man, we must live in the last days, because it says that there will be earthquakes in one place after the other, and I'm seeing that. Pestilence is all over the place. I'm seeing that. Kids not having any respect for the elders or authority. I'm seeing that. I mean, it's like, are we really, living in that time period? And then I start thinking, but our time is different from God's time. Mm-hmm. So, and you hear people say, this stuff been going on way before social media. It's just being polarized now. Mm-hmm. So it's just, I don't know. I want people when they come into our shop to kind of forget about all those things and just be able to just focus on themselves and be happy, be relaxed.
That's definitely what you created. I think there's such a great opportunity for people who care about making people feel like $1 million. Mm-hmm. If you're able to humble yourself enough to let people flourish in a conversation and let them feel good, even if it's, you got something to say, but you don't need to say it right now. Listen, like you said, listen twice as much as you're talking, and ask people questions about themselves. My dad always told me, my dad has been in the car business for 35 years, mm-hmm. and I've watched him, and that dude can have a conversation. Mm-hmm. And it's not because he's so smart, which he is, and it's not because he's so eloquent, which he is, but it's because he really is curious about people. Oh, why'd you think that? So when that and he remembers things about people. How's your kid doing? I know you said they were about to, go to college, and I read the paper, and I saw their name, and I thought of you. And so that type of art of making somebody feel amazing about themselves, it separates you in the experience people have with you, whether it's in your business or doing business with you or just in a conversation. It's the great separator.
Kevin, how does a crispy haircut make you feel?
No, it feels pretty good.
Do you feel confident?
Oh, I feel good.
Do you feel successful?
I feel skinnier.
It's just it can do. When I see guys in videos and stuff and they're going up to homeless people cutting them, mm-hmm. That's got to be an awesome feeling, mm-hmm. to make a person feel good, because they're out there, they feel like life is giving up on them, and then here comes this stranger that just blesses them, with a gift, mm-hmm. and it's life changing, and it can do things for people, and that's what our goal is to help people, make them feel better. Because there's a lot of things right now in this world that are working against us. And if a haircut can make you fight back, fight against those things that are really wearing on you, whether it's physical or mental, then, hey, we're for it.
Dude, I really appreciate you coming on here.
I appreciate being here.
I could talk with you. We got to do a part 2 here soon.
You really?
What if we do one in the chair?
In a barber chair?
Yeah.
That would be great. I would love that.
Let's mic us up, and we'll do it in the chair so people can see your shop, and maybe we can talk to some of the barbers you got, man. But
I would love to do that.
I love what you got going on.
I would love to do that.
And I'm happy to hear you're in remission, you said?
I am in remission.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm in it, and the goal is to stay there. And it's so hard to eat healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Hard. And somebody walk in the house with some donuts, cookies.
And they still taste good, don't they?
And they still, oh my goodness. It tastes even better. When you don't drink pop regularly, or eat donuts regularly, or just that stuff tastes extra good. Like it's like it's from heaven or something,
It's like, oh, they made it this way. Well, dude, this conversation's been good. I appreciate you taking the time, and we'll do it again, okay?
All right.
If you want to follow Dale, it's Detail Dale on Instagram, right?
Yes.
And then what about your YouTube channels? How can people find that? And interact
Detail
with you?
Dale on YouTube.
Awesome. I love it, man. See you guys next time.